Welcome, everybody. It's the Quantum Healing with Candace show. It is a live Facebook version here on this wonderful Sunday morning, the 24th of March, 2019. And I am welcoming my good friends, my good colleagues, wonderful practitioners in the world of quantum healing, Alba Weinman and Antonio Sangio. Hi, you guys. How's it going?
Hi, Candace.
Hi, I'm going to let you speak first.
Hi, Candace. Thank you so much for inviting us on this show today.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so happy to see you both together because you actually surprised me. I thought we were going to be doing this three-way live broadcast, and Antonio's name pops up, and there you both are. So where are you, and what are you guys doing?
Well, first of all, thank you, Candace, for inviting us. Well, we are in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is my home office. And we are together because in a week, we are having our third Introspective Hypnosis class, the live class, the big class here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was a keynote speaker, one of the keynote speakers at QHwC.com yesterday. And I was given a booth. So Alba said, Antonio, I'll be there to help you. You know, that's what friends are good for. She's always helping me. So we were at QHwC Charlotte the whole day, and at the end of the afternoon, I was able to talk about, do my workshop, and that's why she's here. Now she's going to be doing sessions the whole week before our class. That's why we're together today.
Super, but you guys are like BFFs. You do lots of things together. You work very well together. So, what even is QHwC Charlotte? And then, of course, after you tell us that, tell us about,
QHwC Charlotte is, I would say, the biggest metaphysical event not in Charlotte, but in North Carolina and neighboring states. So you have all kind of vendors, and then you have Lori, who is the organizer, was kind enough to invite me to be one of the 7 speakers at QHwC Charlotte. So you have all kind of vendors, you have readers, you have experientials, and then you have speakers. You have 2 workshops going at the same time, so people get to choose where to go. And that was yesterday, right? And it's once a year. And I think in December they do something a little bit different. They do the Christmas pop-up market in December, which is just the vendor, not the workshop. But it was awesome. That crowd was amazing.
The energy in the room was amazing. Amazing. Yeah. I mean, we were buzzing the whole time. It was just, I've been to other of these metaphysical shows, but wow, this one was amazing. Yeah. So if anybody's in the North Carolina area and they get to go to this, it really is fantastic.
Right, and it's very well organized. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Lori is amazing. She is the organizer. She's the creator, and yesterday was the 10th anniversary of QHwC Charlotte. So if anybody wants to go to the website to see what this is about, it's QHwCharlotte.com. Yeah, you can also find them in Facebook, QHwC Charlotte, and it was amazing. Very well organized, very professional. And we had a blast. Now my workshop. I was speaking about the title of my workshop was "Are We Trapped by Our Own Destiny?" Right? People feel trapped in different situations in life, and basically transmitting the message that we choose our lessons, we choose our parents. That we plan our lessons before we reincarnate, and we should take ownership of whatever happens to us because there's always some learning behind it. And I did that for the first 30 minutes, and the other 30 minutes, it was a regression, right? And a lot of people went into that trance. It was interesting.
Yeah, Antonio has a magical voice that will put anybody out. So it was really, it's always amazing to watch. And I also assisted him because there were some times he put some suggestions in there to go to an event in your life that really you needed to touch upon. So I was going through the crowd also to make sure that there was nobody that needed additional attention. So we worked as a team even on that.
Right, because you never know who can make contact with an emotion or go to a past life where, there's a traumatic event, and Alba was there walking around, right, the crowd, just making sure everything was okay in case they needed special attention. Yeah. So it was great.
Kind of like a hypnosis monitor.
Well, I remember, back when we first all got together back in Arkansas with Dolores Cannon, it was interesting to watch when she would do her group regressions, what would happen in the audience. And some people really could have used a little bit of face-to-face time and some assistance. But mostly it was all really, very straightforward, and there wasn't a lot of disruption in that way at all. But group regression concept's a really wonderful thing. Antonio, a lot of these places will broadcast or make the recordings available. Is that the case too with Shift Charlotte?
No, they do not broadcast.
Oh, okay.
They do not broadcast. You can go there. I would recommend everybody to go there next year, even to the pop-up market if you're in the area. It's awesome. You need to buy a ticket, and it's not that expensive. So you go there, you buy a ticket, you go in person. The idea of Shift Charlotte is to get the community together. So Charlotte is part of the Bible Belt, right? Just as an anecdote, when I first learned QHwC, I was not able to get volunteers here. Believe it or not, I had to go all the way to Miami to get my first 10 sessions because I could not get volunteers. There are more churches than gas stations here. It is. So in Shift Charlotte, the idea is to bring all the physical community together. And they invite local speakers, local professionals. So after that event, the people that attend the Shift Charlotte have access to them. Why bring somebody from another country, another state, if those people will not have access to them? So the idea is to bring the community together, and it is great. So yeah, you purchase a ticket, you get to attend to that place. You get to attend to all the workshops, and there's a pre-event on a Friday but the drumming circle was awesome as well. Yeah.
I used to live in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and I went to school in Greenville.
Okay.
And I'm making a little fun of that, but I loved living there. I wasn't into any of this stuff at the time. I was taking fine painting at the university there in Greenville. It's so nice to hear how all of these pockets all around the world are waking up. I can't, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. When I was living in North Carolina, I was having some really strange, spontaneous out-of-body experiences. And it was, I had nobody to talk to. And it was only because my university had a book of Robert Monroe's Journeys Out of Body that I was able to know that I wasn't going insane. I was even afraid back then to tell my husband what was going on. He was, an officer in the military, and I thought he might take care of me so well, he would lock me up. I really did. And that's not that long ago. That was in the mid 1980s. For me, that's not too long ago because, I'm old. But how amazing that things have changed like that. So nice to hear about.
Yeah. You know what? I used to live in Miami for quite a few years. And 11 years ago, my wife and I decided to move to Charlotte. So all my relatives and family members in Miami were like, why Charlotte? Who do you have in Charlotte? I said, nobody. So why are you moving there? I said, I don't know, but I feel that that's the place for us to be. Now I understand, obviously.
Yeah.
And when I started practicing either QHwC or introspective hypnosis in English and Spanish, so that Hispanic community, which is not that big here in Charlotte, had access to that technique, and now introspective hypnosis, providing access to the people locally in Charlotte and North Carolina and neighboring states. So now I understand why I'm here.
Yeah,
that's great. That's great. I seem to have been stuck in this buckle of the Bible Belt myself, but it's, there's pockets of people everywhere, but, there's definitely places where it's easier to find your tribe, so to speak. So how nice. Well, tell us about the class coming up. Tell us when, where, how, and then, give us some session stories. Give us some of the juicy stuff, you guys. We've got a lot of people on the call right now or on the webinar right now watching us on Facebook. And I'm sure they will want to hear, some of what's going on behind the scenes with you two.
Okay, good. I'm going to let you speak.
Well, the really cool thing about this class that we're doing live is because it's the interaction between Antonio and I. I think that's the reason. He does these classes online, and it's the same material that he teaches online that he teaches at the class. But the big difference is that you have both of us together. And Antonio does the introspective hypnosis he's got things that he's teaching people, and they're very important. And I use these techniques, but nobody sees me using these techniques ever, because these are the sessions that are so personal that they do not get on YouTube. So a lot of people come to this class and say, oh, what I want to do hypnosis Alba's way. And they don't understand that Alba's way is not necessarily what they see on YouTube. Alba has a lot of sessions that you never ever see that require doing different techniques. Okay. These are people who will not go to past lives right away. You need to get deep in there and find out what's going on with them. So we both do it in a similar but different way. So when they come to the class, Antonio will be telling his story, and then I'll jump in and say, yes, but this is, I don't do it that way. I do it this way. And we go back and forth, and it's kind of like a ping pong thing. We're giving our experiences. And when you go to a class to learn something, the teacher is telling you, okay, this is how you have to do it. And in our case, Antonio and I, like, we were like, we call, he's my brother, you know, and we were kind of raised the same way in hypnosis. You know, he went through QHHT, I went through QHHT, then we went through Aurelio Mejia, I went through Aurelio Mejia, and then we both have had other trainings that neither of us have had together. So we're doing different things. So when we get together, we're showing them our experience, we're telling them about our experiences, where we messed up, where we have problems, because people think, oh, you know, you must not have any problems because you do it so beautifully. There are times where the person leaves your office and you go like, oh my God, I really, you know, couldn't get through that person. But it happens to us. So we show them that we are human, that we are not we're still learning. We're still learning. We're constantly looking for more ways of doing things. And that's what's the unique part about this class, is that you have both of us telling people about our experiences.
Yeah. I think that is the added value, right? She says something very important. So,
Alba Weinman brings the added value. I love the way you guys are doing this horizontally. And it's sort of like, this is kind of what we do on our forum, right? We share like this. And for those of you out there who may not understand or know this, the original Quantum Healing Support Forum, we support people who take Antonio's course. So we have Antonio's students, introspective hypnosis, we have QHHT people, we have BQH people, we have Reiki masters, we have EFT people, and we do a lot of this. Hey, what about this? What about this? Think about it this way. So we have this larger community kind of after the fact for support as well. But I love the tag team teaching idea right there live. What a beautiful time.
And the beautiful thing is that in the class, a lot of people, you know, wonder, will I even be able to do this when I leave this class? Because if you go to almost any class teaching you, even like computer skills, unless you're doing that and making mistakes while you're learning, and your instructor can actually come up to you and say, okay, you could do it better, or, you know, you forgot this step. What we do is we go step by step. Okay, you're going to learn this now. Okay, everybody practice. And now you're going to learn this. And then we go around the room and we're watching them and we're coaching them as they're doing their baby steps.
Right. But if they finish a class and they don't practice, it's like when you go to the gym, right? The first time it hurts, you know, and then it's uncomfortable, and then you get in shape and it's good. But if you stop doing it, once you try to start again, it's going to hurt again. Yeah. So why don't we explain what introspective hypnosis is? So people might be asking themselves, what's introspective hypnosis? So I created, well, not that I created, it's kind of my own style of the technique that I learned from my teacher, Aurelio Mejia. I mean, I learned from him and I was able to make just a few changes, but it's basically the same structure, right? So introspective hypnosis is a technique that helps our clients look for the origin of psychosomatic symptoms or issues, so pain, fear, phobias. People that come to these sessions are people that want to feel better today. Most of the stuff that that they're experiencing today, maybe were created during their childhood. Fear, phobia, sadness, relationship issues, misconceptions that they have, or the way their subconscious mind was programmed since they were kids. So the idea is to take them to the origin, not to treat the symptom, but look for the origin. When you go and check the origin and you have your client visit that event, that whatever happened there, and analyze that, we're able to change the perception, or we're able to change the association, and that takes rid of the symptom. Now, what happens? People might ask me, why past lives? Because a lot of the stuff that we have come from past lives. Fear, phobias, pain, nightmares, a lot of those stuff. So it is then when your subconscious mind will take you to a past life. And once we navigate that past life and we understand where that is coming from, that symptom disappears. We also deal with, which I love, spirit attachments, right? So one of the techniques that we use among the other ones, role change, Ericksonian, a little bit of Ericksonian hypnosis, past life regression, spiritual assistance, role play, is dealing with the spirits. But we treat them with love, respect, and affection. We actually sometimes do therapy on them. You know, we help them go
sometimes we go to a past life of a spirit.
Right. We tell them to pass.
We actually do a regression on a spirit to see what happened, why they have issues, because a spirit may not have gone back to the light because they have to forgive someone who maybe have killed them. So, you know, we take them back to that. So we're doing therapy not only on our client, but on those who have attached to them that are causing them to.
And that's what we explain, that the techniques that are learned in class are timeless. Time does not exist. Everything is happening now. And you can apply the same techniques in this life, in a past life, let's say future life, even though, well, and then we can do the same, we can use the same techniques as spirits. We are spirits in a body. So we help in that spirit too. So sometimes we have to apply the same techniques to help that spirit go to the light with love, respect, and affection. So yeah. And as we were saying, the added value of the class is not that I design the class and tell them, here's the material, here's what, go and read my presentation, my PowerPoint presentation, and explain. I think what is important is the do's and don'ts, right? So this is a mistake that I make. Don't make the same mistake, and the Alba will say something else.
Exactly. You know, we learn a lot about what not to do. Okay, what not to do, and I think that is almost as important as what to do, because it's like being a parent. You know, when you're raising a child and you tell them, okay, this is what you should be doing, but they also want to know what shouldn't I do? What are the
right.
It almost reminds me of someone who's been put on a diet, and the doctor says, well, you know, you have to eat this and this and this, but the person doesn't know what not to eat, you know?
Right.
So this is a new way of dealing with clients. We definitely are always dealing with love, kindness, compassion. You know, in other hypnotherapy techniques, you know, the hypnotist is in control, and the ego is about, you know, as big as the room. And this is not what we teach. You know, you are there to really love your clients, love them through this process. And it's a very compassionate way of doing it. And that's how the person builds that trust with you.
Right. And it's helping them remember who they are. You're a spirit that came to this planet that is school, right? So you came here to learn lessons. We help them remember that they chose those lessons. They chose their parents. So everything that happens to us, either we like it or not, is for our own learning, our own evolution.
Yeah.
So the idea is that when we take our clients in a trance and we visit those, what I call it, sad memories, we help them analyze that memory and make them understand why that happened, what for, what is it, what was the learning behind it. Once we help them do that using the several techniques that we use in introspective hypnosis, we help them remove the emotion. Keep the learning, but remove the emotion, because that repressed emotion is the one that is manifesting as a physical symptom, as pain, as neck pain, back pain, sometimes even cancer, right?
Yeah. I think the difference of this technique in, let's say, QHHT, for example, because that's the other training that we had, is that we actually, we roll up our sleeves and we get in there and we work. And, we have to be the ones going in there, and we don't trust on, an outside force, as in QHHT, to go in there and give us answers. We're actually doing the work and digging in.
Right. So let me explain a little bit about that. The approach of an introspective hypnosis practitioner is a little bit different, right? And the example that I give in class is like, let me show you a little ball made of Play-Doh, and let's ask questions about that Play-Doh that you see. How many questions can you ask? What color is it? What texture? What smells? You can go on and on and on and on for an hour asking questions. Which question would change the fact that is Play-Doh? No, none. So in introspective hypnosis, we're not going to change the fact that is Play-Doh, but we're going to jump in and work with our clients to change or to shape that ball of Play-Doh into something useful for them. For example, right, an ashtray or a vase, or I don't know, it's still Play-Doh, but now it's something that you can use. It's the same thing. Let's think of a memory or an event or something that took place in the past or a past life as a Play-Doh. It's there. We can ask lots and lots of questions, and that's not going to change the fact that that was a sad memory. But with introspective hypnosis, we're going to help that client transform that sad memory into something useful, like a lesson. You learn this from this, and this is why you had this for. This is what you had to learn. Let's remove the emotion. So the approach is a little bit different. So people say, Antonio, do you contact the higher self during the sessions? Not with that name, not the same way that other techniques do it. And I tell them, I don't want to depend on contacting the higher self, because some people have the wrong idea of what the higher self is, right?
Howdy, do they ever?
Yeah.
We've been working with that concept for so long.
Oh my God.
So many misconceptions.
So the clients have a misconception of what the higher self is. So they bring a lot of questions to the session, not an introspective hypnosis session, but they don't bring questions, they bring issues, right? So, but they still come with the wrong idea sometimes. I brought these questions. So I want to ask my higher self if I should marry this person. I want to ask my higher self if I should move to this other city. I want to ask my higher self if I should apply to this other job. They have the wrong idea of what the higher self is. That's on the side of the client. Yeah. Now let's talk about the practitioners. Some practitioners think that the higher self is Merlin the magician, right? So that all we have to do is put that client in a trance, navigate a couple of lives. Oh, let me call the higher self, and higher self is going to take care of everything, you know? And what happened is the higher self does not manifest, at least the way the client expects. When they bring a lot of expectations, your session goes down the drain. The client gets frustrated, the practitioner gets frustrated. So in introspective hypnosis, we're sharing tools that would allow you and your client go and work together, finding the origin of whatever it is that they need to work on. Yeah. And if you contact the higher self, which is in a different way, it's another value, you know, and it's great.
Yeah. And I'm just going to throw this in here, is that when people come to me, obviously they've been watching my YouTube videos of the best and the best of the best, or the ones that really have information, but they have no clue that I use these other techniques. So sometimes when my clients leave my sessions after I've been using all of these techniques that they never see me do, they're in shock. They may be in shock because, we've picked at the scab and reopened that wound again, and had to dig in deep and get what was getting to them. They left thinking that, okay, that was not what I expected, because I expected to be able to give a message to the world. I came here to give a message to the world, and I'm telling them, your session was to take care of your issue with your dad, not to give a message. Once you take care of your issues, once you clean your own house, then maybe you can give a message. But it's not about being the messenger of all of this. we're here to take care of you. If, especially with me, if somebody has come to me for a session, I know that they have been led to me. It's divine guidance. And that person has come to me for a reason. And I'm going to be there 100% for them. And whatever it is that I am being guided to do is going to happen. And if there's no message to the world, you know, it's because we had to take care of these issues. You see?
Can I ask a question then? Because, and it may be unfair, but I think it would be great to have this perspective. If you, both of you, feel free to answer this question. If people come to you thinking that message to the world thing, and believe me, I completely understand that, what kind of percentage, Alba and Antonio both, would you say it is in your clients, the ones that really need to work on their own personal stuff versus those who have some sort of greater information to share with others? What's the percentage there if you had to break it up?
Well, it's different.
It's different.
You get more of
because we are working differently and our energies are different.
Yeah.
I will get more of the people that connect with the higher self, that connect with different realms, that do a lot of traveling, because that is what I have set my intention for. Right. You know, that's my guidance. But many of my sessions are really about family, dealing with, you know, there's a lot of abuse out there, unfortunately. Yeah. A lot of people have been abused when they were children. They fell into families that they were the ugly duckling or the one that didn't fit in. And these are the little warriors that came in here. You know, that was their boot camp. So they're kind of injured. They, you know, their little wings are broken, and because, you know, these are angels that came here to save their family. And so we have to work on mending those broken wings before they can fly.
Yeah, in my case, I would say maybe I don't know, 95, 97% of the people that come to my sessions have to deal with heavy stuff, right? They were abused, they were raped, molested, a lot of trauma from childhood, a lot of things from past life. Those are the ones that come to me. And I think that the universe develops, as I tell everybody, the universe is going to develop your specialty. And when we teach this class, right, I tell them, you're going to notice a pattern in the type of clients that you receive. And those are exactly the ones that you're going to be able to help because of the tools that you now have. So those are the ones that I get. If you go to my YouTube channel, I do not have that many videos because the sessions are very private, very, very private. So out of, I don't know, 10, 15 sessions, maybe I can share one. Yeah. And I have those that, yes, they go to a spiritual awakening process and they get a lot of information from their guides, especially now that I also learned the life between life technique from Michael Newton. I took that the Newton Institute class. Now I'm able to take them to other places, right, to get more information. But I did have, I remember one case, obviously I'm not going to mention any names, somebody that came to me because Alba, she's gonna get a session with Alba, you know. But since they see us together often and we kind of use the same techniques in a different way and different styles, so I said, I'll get a session with Antonio. But I tell everybody, this is the type of sessions that I facilitate. Go check my YouTube channel, see how I facilitate my sessions. And if you resonate with that, come to see me. This person came thinking that she was going to get a message and a message she could share with the world. It was not the case. That person went back to her childhood and when it was a traumatic event. But that's why she needed to work. And maybe the universe used that as an excuse, like use Alba as an excuse to have this person come for the session. Yeah. That person obtained results out of the session. It was not what she was looking for, might not have been happy about it, but I'm sure that her guy was grateful. So I don't know. But I get most of the people that I get are like people with a lot of emotional issues, traumas and pains and all that stuff. Yeah, and they go to past lives, and I get quite a few people with the spirit attachments.
Yeah. And we don't know which way a session is going to go. I tell all of my clients, because they'll come in, oh, do I have spirit? I think I have spirit attachments. I think I have this. And it's like, listen, we don't know what we're going to run into. I have no idea how your session is going to go. I don't even know how it's going to start, because I do it a little bit different than Antonio does. We don't even know how this is going to start. So whatever happens is going to happen, whatever's supposed to be there. And I put myself into a trance with my clients. I am actually in a hypnotic state when I'm doing this. So whatever's coming through my mouth is like, my ego sometimes sits in the back and go, what, where are we taking this? Because I didn't expect to go down that path, but the dots start getting connected down that path. And so at the end, I'm as surprised as my clients as to how this thing all worked out. But it's, like when they leave, I scratch my head and I go, how did that happen? How did that happen?
Two things that we really share, and we transmit this during the class, right? Is number one, learn to adapt to the session and to the client. You need to adapt to whatever the session, because your client's subconscious and your client's guides have their own agenda, right? So you have to adapt. Yes, introspective hypnosis has a structure, and I divided it into a few steps. But sometimes you have to, adapt and see what the session presents for you. Number one. Number two, we need to keep in mind that the best, if you want to call it therapist for your client, is your client's spirit guide. So we encourage everybody to just open up during the session and learn to listen and feel and channel that guide. Let your client's guide work through you. Right? And it is then when you experience that, I have experienced that, we ask questions that we say we don't know where that question came from. We know, it's an expression. I remember I told my client, I want you to pay special attention to that pain that you have in the right leg. I just said it. And at the end of the session, she said, how do you know I had pain in my right leg? I didn't mention that to you. I said, I don't know. I was channeling. So that's what we need to learn to do. Michael Newton even says it in his books. And I read that after I had learned that.
Yeah, you have to become a good channel. And people out there are going to say, well, how do I become a channel? And it's like practice. That's all you have to do. The more you do this, the more you get in tune. Yesterday, for example, I was at this fair, and I've never considered myself one who can really read energy. I've never had, I always say I don't have any of these clairvoyant or anything. I've always been very low key about this stuff. And yesterday I was at that fair, and somebody was selling orgone, and just out of the blue, I must have been in some weird trance because of all the energy. I pick up this orgone and I started feeling, and I said, oh, this is a very friendly piece. This is very friendly. I'm getting really good vibes. Let me pick this one. It's like, oh man, this, I'm going to say some bad words. This is a real hard ass, I'm going to buy this one because this one says this could really help me. Where did this come from? I don't know, but it seems that the more we do this, the more we're channeling, and it just comes to us. We don't know.
Yeah, and it takes time, because when you learn a technique, you're at the beginning, when you facilitate your sessions, you're so focused on the technique. You're so focused on doing the induction. You're so focused on paying attention to see if your client is in a trance or not, right? We all went through that. Then, am I doing the right steps? Am I asking the right questions? So I will focus on something else, while we're learning that technique. But once you practice and all that comes as second nature, then is when you start developing this other skill, the channeling, opening up and get this information.
And picking up on energies. I do a lot of energy work behind the scenes that people don't see me doing on YouTube. Sometimes I'll put the camera on it, but a lot of times I'm doing energy work with my clients. I have never formally been trained in any energy work whatsoever. All I know is that I'm being told, do this, and start swirling, and whatever I'm picking up, I'm doing, and I feel the energy. The more I do it, the stronger I feel it. Right. If I'm being directed to go towards the feet, I do this. it's something that's innate that I'm just channeling, and we can't teach that. This comes from just listening to your heart. So in our class, we teach the basics of, listen, this is how you maneuver through this, but I cannot teach anyone how to do this because I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it's so beautiful. You know, it's just so beautiful for me as, you know, a creator of a modality myself that says using your intuition is a good thing. Connecting in and doing is a good thing. You know, you doing energy work. I'm reminded of a session where I burst out like singing in some light language. I asked if it was okay first, and then I'm listening. My own body is listening, going, "What the heck is going on here?" And but this is where we're headed with this new way of looking at quantum healing. Is yes, we're channeling. Yes, we are. The practitioners aren't just robots, and we can't just follow a very strict guideline if what's happening in front of us is not happening the way that that it's said in the book or the class or whatever. So yeah, remaining open and accessing your intuition is amazing. I've got, gosh, you guys are on fire. I'm like writing all these questions, but I don't even know if we'll get to all of them. I would love to know this, because I know both of you guys get this, and I want to know what you say to your client when they tell you this, because I know that they're saying this to you. When they say, I had a past life reading from this reader, and she told me XYZ, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here with my twin flame or whatever, because I had this past life reading. How do you respond when you get that statement from a client?
Let me start. Okay, I get that a lot. I came to you because I had this reading with this psychic, and I've been told that I have a dark energy attached to me, or that such and such is my twin flame, as you said, or that I had this past life. Rule number one, it is very important to establish rapport with your client when they come to see you, okay? And when I say that, it's also important that we respect their belief system. Even though it might not make sense to us, you know, even though we might know that is what they're saying might not be true, or the psychic was just trying to make money, who knows? Mm-hmm. We need to be careful with what we say, because at that moment we can break that rapport, you know. And when they break rapport, you break that trust. And when you break that trust, they get upset, or they don't trust you, and the session is going to go well. So work around it. If they believe it, I tell them, oh, it is possible. We'll see where we get. You know, I just kind of circle around it, but I never tell them, no, it doesn't make sense, or don't pay attention to that, or they were trying to get your money. If it is in their mind, it is their reality. Yeah. And since it is their reality and their belief system, we have to respect that and work with that. Use that towards for their own benefit, or towards their own self-healing. Right. So some people, I don't know, some people, when they go into a trance, they go to past life where they're a Virgin Mary, for example. I don't want to tell my client, how come? You crazy? That's impossible. No. So I use the let's say the characteristics or of Virgin Mary to give for that person to give advice to themselves, to himself or herself, for this life. So since now that you have been, or you have been Virgin Mary in this life, what characteristics, what features, whatever, or lessons will you bring to the life of such and such? So I'm using whatever that person is telling me to help them in this life. That is the idea, not to argue with my client, and not to tell them that doesn't make sense. So that's kind of the way I see it. I don't know how you see it.
Well, you know, I'm very blunt about it. It's like, well, we'll see. We'll see, you know, because what they're going to get in this session may not be at all what the reader told them, and they'll figure it out as they do it. It may be part of the session. It may not be part of the session.
You can even tell them, right? It is good. Sometimes you get information from others and it's good.
Yeah.
But this time I'm going to help you get that information yourself.
Yeah. The only thing that I would discourage if somebody has a session with someone, let's say that they've had a hypnosis session with someone and they have seen a past life and they want this session for more information about that past life. That may not be the reason why they come to see us.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they saying, oh, well, now I have more questions about that past life, that may not be at all what we're going to be dealing with today.
They bring a lot of expectations. So by the time they contact you, now the system is automated. My system is as well.
Yeah.
But it's important to address their expectations and learn when and how to say no to some of those expectations. I want to know if my DNA has been changed or whatever. I want to know if I have implants. I cannot guarantee that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I'll be asking questions, but it's your subconscious, the one that is going to be navigating the session.
Yeah.
You might think what is going to happen, but you don't even know. You consciously think, but it's your subconscious, the one navigating the session and the one that is going to show you and have you experience what you're supposed to experience.
Yeah.
So it's very important to address those expectations with the client before you start a session.
Yeah.
Avoid frustration on their part and avoid frustration on your part. And obviously avoid bad feedback, because that person, if they don't get the results that you told them they were going to get, bring the work.
Yeah, they sure will. I'm reminded of a session I had a long time ago where a woman who was quite well known in her own area for being psychically connected, she came quite a bit of ways to have a session with me, and she was just sure she was going to go visit her star family, like you said, Alba, and go and get this incredible message that humanity needed for their healing and all of that. And the entire session was her in a past life where she was this little orphan girl who was starving, and she was taken in by another poor family who said, we don't even have enough food for our own kids, but you can live with the pigs, and whatever they don't eat, you can eat. And she
Oh my God.
She was starving and cold and muddy, and miserable and stinking with the pigs. And her higher self did come through and said, this gal is so focused about what's going on in the stars. She's not paying any attention to her own life. She came here to be physical. She came here to be in a body and interact with the planet.
Yes.
And I tried to set her up for that when she was like, I just know this is going to be this.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, we'll see. I did that. She still was mad. I mean, she was still mad leaving. She just didn't imagine that was possible. She remembered. She remembered the whole part about the little girl, the part where she actually got the answers of why. Almost as soon as she came up, she already was pushing that part away. That's not what she wanted to hear. And I was like, well, wait a second. Listen to your session. Listen to why this happened. And it was perfect. And, that she didn't want to hear it still. People sometimes aren't even ready to hear what they hear.
Yeah. What you will find, everybody will find as practitioners, I'm sure you found that, Alba, and you too, Candace, is that at the end of the session, your client might not like what they experienced. But when days pass by, and maybe after a couple of weeks, after a month, they realize why they needed to experience that. And sometimes they send me an email saying, thank you, or this is what I experienced, or this is what, you can tell by the time they come out of the trance, you see their faces like, what was this?
I'll give you an example with me. I mean, a lot of people have seen my video on, oh my God, I have big feet, the Sasquatch video. And even though, I was laughing a lot in the video, when I finished that session, I was very, very disappointed, and I wanted nothing to do with that. I was really upset. I was really down. It was not a very pleasant experience for me to have that session. And it really put me into a downward, spin, because that's not what I expected. And I didn't want to own that. I didn't want to take responsibility for that. And it took me, and I wouldn't listen to it. I would not listen to that recording because I was so disappointed. And it was months later when I decided to share my videos, where Antonio kind of like forced me into starting to share my videos, where I had to do the transcription for it. And I had to hear it over and over and over again as I kept transcribing it. And that's when I got it. That's when I got my personal message as to what I had to get from it. Now, anybody who sees that video does not understand the message to me because it was so deep personal. But I got from that video exactly what I needed. And it was only in the transcription and listening to it over and over again, I finally said, oh my God, I finally understand. And I haven't shared that with anybody, nor will I, because it's very personal. But what you see in a session also is not what the person is interpreting. Okay. A lot of people will watch my videos and they'll say, oh, I didn't get anything out of that video. Well, it wasn't your session. It wasn't, you were not in that mind. And whatever you were seeing was perhaps a metaphor. It perhaps came into a certain way where you can interpret it, but an outsider has no idea. And
your client is telling you this much of what they are really experiencing, right?
Right. You're seeing so much or experiencing or feeling so much, and you cannot say it.
So I mean, as practitioners, we're gonna find sessions that at the end of the session, when the client opens the eyes, you can see that they're upset. Leave your ego behind. That session is not for us practitioners. That session was for the client. And since the conscious mind was out of the way as the client was in a trance, they don't understand what they went through. I mean, they might remember bits and pieces, even they might remember the whole session, but they don't understand why is it that they had that experience. And that is what we recommend. And we also learned that from the Dolores Cannon, that have them at least watch or listen to the session at least twice. As they do that, then we're gonna start clicking. Oh, this is what it, oh, now I understand why I got it. And that's why that healing starts days or even weeks later. And some people, sorry to say, they don't even want to watch your sessions anymore. They're missing 50%.
Like I did. I mean, I did not get it until months later when I realized what the message was that was being given to me. And it was hidden within, I can't even tell you where it was or what happened, but it was hidden within that a knowing came out.
You know what, I love hearing that, because you know, you and I, Alba, did a show many years ago about this, but I didn't hear this analyzing of it at the time. This really plays up to how keeping those recordings around and re-listening to them years later. I listened to my own with Dolores Cannon. That's now, you know, that happened in 2008, 11 years ago. And while it had incredible meaning for me at the time, it has even more meaning for me now. It's on a completely different level. You know, we as adults, sometimes we watch cartoons, right? And they're funny for kids. There's a whole nother level of humor in cartoons that is given just to adults that kids
or
have.
Hidden message that you as an adult can get from those cartoons, right?
Exactly. And that's what happens in these sessions as well. There's many levels, isn't there?
Yes. And you know, hitting back to what we're doing is we're giving the practitioners different tools to find things that we need to get to.
Right.
You know, it's different tools.
Giving tools, teaching flexibility, adaptability.
Yeah, because everybody's different and everybody's unique. We're not made out of, you know, with cookie cutters. And we have to be in there to help our client in the very best way that we can.
Yeah. And often, again, that has to do with something that happened in the present life. So as cool as all of these adventures are, the present life is still huge in the kind of therapy, the work that we all do with our clients. We're getting about to the end of our hour together, but I have a couple questions still left, but here's one I would like to ask both of you. I don't know that I've asked this question in exactly this way before to anyone. And it occurred to me while you were talking. So Antonio, you were talking about the different things that go on with us can actually, of course, have their very root cause in past lives. I mean, you know, we've been through all of that. So my question to you is your sense, and I know, of course, time doesn't really exist, but do you think that the point of perspective that we have here now in 2019, where we're waking up and understanding how really multidimensional that we are. Do you think that humans have always had their lives affected by other realms, other lives that, you know, manifest in this life? Or do you think that that's happening to us now a little more because we're becoming more multi-dimensional? What do you think here in 2019?
I think there's no right or wrong answer, but I think that it has always been the case from my perspective, because we are spirits, and if we're spirits, that means that we existed somewhere else before we incarnated in this body. Either if it's the light, whatever we experience there is also affecting this body. Whatever decisions we make before we were incarnated, even if it's for the first time, also affects this body. So in regressions, you had, I mean, I don't remember, have one or two clients that went to very ancient times. My teacher, Aurelio Mejia, had a regression where and it was done in front of a lot of people. This person went to a time where it was a caveman. There was no language. As he was doing the regression, this lady was deep in a trance. There was a man in that, it was a caveman in that life, was using me, strong, bear, kill, so on. So using languages and touching, that was the language that was using there. So that means that I mean, people had past lives even back then, when prehistoric times, you know, caveman. So I think it has always been that case, and that life affected this woman in this life, and that is the reason why obviously she went to that past life. But yeah, I think it has always been that case. But now that we're in this process of awakening, now we understand why a lot of the things that we're feeling, we're experiencing, our nightmares, our relationship with others, patterns that present in life. Now we understand where they come from, right? And
I want to take it even deeper down that rabbit hole, is that now we're understanding that not only are we living this life, but our future selves are coming back now, messing with our timelines in order for us to get it. And that's why we're having this Mandela effect.
So our future self might be having a past life regression.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, this whole idea of, you know, the fact that right now, so many things are happening because our future selves are interfering and making sure that we're going on the right timeline. And that's why we're getting all these hiccups in our system, that one day, you know, I look in the mirror and I'm going, I have no eyelashes. And the next day it's like, where'd the eyelashes come from? And then the next day it's like, where are my eyelashes? And I know that I'm switching timelines where I have eyelashes and my eyelashes are gone. So I know that we are hiccuping through day by day, being in different timelines. And, you know, as you expand this knowledge more and more, you understand that, yes, there's always been now, in the moment of now, and that each one of our personalities are affecting the whole of who we are as a soul.
Right. So the way I explain this in the class is, let's think of as let's put this example, a network of computers, right? When you go to an office, you have a lot of workstations, and then you have a server, which is a central computer. I want everybody to think as ourselves as that main computer. So anything that happens to us and go through us affects all the workstations. And I want you to think of the workstations as the past lives. So anything that goes through us affects the workstations, meaning the past lives. And everything that affects those workstations, meaning past lives, affects the server, you. Yep. It's like a virus, right? It infects one computer and infects the server, it infects the other computers. So that's why whatever takes place in a past life can affect us and can affect the other past life at the same time. And that is the reason why that time does not exist. When we understand where that, I don't know, maybe you had back pain, chronic back pain, and you go to a past life that you were maybe in France, in the French Revolution, you were killed, you were stabbed in the back, and you understand where that pain is coming from. In this body, now that pain goes away. Why? Because whatever was healed from that past life affects the main computer, the server, you. So that's why anything that happens in past life and they're still taking place affects us all day, every day.
So we as practitioners or hypnotherapists are the antivirus.
I love it. I love it.
For malware bites,
Yeah.
we are the ones who go in there and clean up what's happened in the entire system.
Well,
I love that analogy. Well, listen, let's end by telling everyone exactly how they can get a hold of you for this upcoming class or for anything else afterwards. Please let us know how they can get in touch.
Sure. So you either go to Alba's website, albaweinman.com, and she has this our class listed, or you can go to antoniosangio.com or introspectivehypnosis.com, takes you to the same website. Our class is January 1st. January 1st. No, I'm sorry, April 1st. April 1st to the 5th here in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is a live class. We still have a few seats available.
Yes.
And it's an awesome class. People coming from, believe it or not, even though we do the class in Charlotte, most of the people are coming from out of state. People coming from other countries. There is somebody coming from Egypt. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Amazing.
So, yeah. So we still have some seats available. And I also do this online, trying to do this kind of every other month, live online, people from other countries joining as well. I'm also starting to do group regressions now, and a program that I call Soul Group. I'm going to start doing this live and then also online. Soul Map. That is kind of an introspective hypnosis session as a group. I'm working as a group to help each other and give information. And Alba is you're doing your gatherings as well. Right?
I'm doing my gatherings. One of the main things that we're trying to do is bring people together to share our light, to network, because like you said, there's pockets in places that people don't know where they are. So my next gathering that I have planned, I'm working on other places, is Buffalo, New York. We're open for registration there for a gathering. I'm going to be sending out a newsletter in a couple of weeks for sessions in Buffalo and a gathering. I also have a retreat in Mount Shasta that we're booked, but we still have some hotel room occupancy that you can join us. We're bringing in Blair Styra from New Zealand to have an event in the San Francisco Bay Area.
When you say we, it's not.
It's me and Geraldine Orozco is having that. We're bringing Blair Styra to Channel Tabash, and Antonio and I will be going to New Zealand and having a class in New Zealand in November.
In November. New Zealand.
And we do have an announcement.
We have been getting a lot of requests from people in Europe. So we have already planned that class in Europe. We're not going to say where. We're going to announce that
after our class.
After or when our class starts. Yes. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll announce where we're going to be having an introspective hypnosis class in Europe.
So a lot of people that would love to learn this technique and see Alba
live,
me. This live 5-day class, you can do that. In my case, this is just me. I'm scheduling a class in Canada, this time in Toronto, and this is in September. I think it starts September 9th. It's not going to be that big of a class. It's going to be a small group. My capacity is up to, 20 people.
I will not be there. I will be in New Zealand at that time.
She will not be there. I'll be teaching this class in Canada. So people that want to learn, because I'm speaking to Canadian friends, people that want to learn this technique, I'll be there.
Yeah.
A lot of people from Canada join our my online class, and a few of them came to the live class. So this is a chance.
And that's why I'm going to Buffalo to get those Canadians to come across the bridge over there for our gathering, and we'll have a session. So I'm not going to Canada anytime soon. So
and again, our gathering is not our gathering.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm always.
That's all right. We're all so busy. It sounds like you guys have a jam-packed 2019 and 2020 coming up. And I want to thank you both so much for joining me today. You can also find Alba and Antonio listed on our directory of quantum healers, of course, at quantumhealers.com. And I want to plug my own event. Yes, quantumhealers.com is bringing to you Worldwide Regression Week next month. That's April 15th to the 21st. What's Worldwide Regression Week? Well, April 15th is Dolores Cannon's birthday, and we've decided to celebrate that whole week with regression news, regression events, regression videos and shows, all sorts of things going on that week, live and otherwise, articles, all kinds of things. So look for that to happen next month. That's April 15th to 21st, 2019. Thank you so much for everybody who has joined us here live on Facebook today, and everyone who's going to be watching this replay on YouTube. So thank you so much. Thanks, Alba. Thanks, Antonio.
Thank you, Candace. And I want to thank you for your help, the opportunity, for the support. You always support the community, and we really appreciate that. And I think, and I encourage everybody, and I think that this is a great example that there's no competition among practitioners, that we're here to help each other. Each client is going to choose you for a reason, because you have specific tools. And I think that we are the best example, helping each other in our practice.
Absolutely.
You help us promote our class, our events, and we help you promote your events, and then you have us on Quantum Healers as a modality. So we really appreciate that. Thank you.
It's the new way of the new earth for service to others. And by the way, I took Antonio's class and I highly recommend it. All right, that's all for today. Bye, everybody.
Bye.